Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today, as you can tell, we are doing a book haul. Love a book haul. I love watching book hauls. These are books that I have gotten pretty much like since the day after Christmas. These were not all gotten or received in one go. I love book shopping, but I do think that I'm a bit better about like when to take in books. So I have about 25 books, mostly within the fantasy, fictional, sci-fi, horror space, but I have a few other things because I am trying to like spread out my genre reading this year. So let's get started. I can knock out some real quick. Do I have to say anything else before I start? No, I don't think so. So let's just get into it. Okay, I have 5 books in the Temeraire series by Naomi Novik. I'm not quite sure how many books are in the series, but I have 5 right here. I have been doing book shopping. Okay, don't tell anybody, but people are sleeping on eBay when it comes to buying book lots. I know everyone likes shopping on Amazon and all that kind of stuff, or even like Goodwill, thrift stores. That's all fine and dandy, but I got this at a book lot on eBay for like 20 something dollars, with a little bit more for shipping. We have, I don't know if these are in order, but this is His Majesty's Dragon, Throne of Jade, Black Powder War, see if you can see that, Victory of Eagles, and Empire of Ivory. I don't know if those are in order, probably not. That's okay, but I've been wanting to read the series for a long time. When I first started getting into the bookish spaces in like 2017, 2018 when I started watching BookTube, a lot of people talked about this series as the Napoleonic Wars with dragons, and that's pretty much all anyone said about the series. I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of politicking, which I love. Wars, battles, dragons. But yeah, Naomi Novik, I've only read one book from her previously, which was Uprooted, which I did like at the time. I definitely have to do a reread to see if my feelings on that book still stand, but I got a majority of the series, I'm assuming, for a relatively cheap price. And yeah, they're not the same editions. If you are a thrifty person and you like buying your books secondhand, sometimes you can't really pick and choose what editions come to you. You just gotta have to like jump on it when you see them, so it's fine. I love these covers, but I'm always a sucker for like a mass market. I know a lot of people don't like mass markets. I like them. They're cheap and I can put more of them in the shelf. So since we just mentioned Naomi Novik, I also found at my Goodwill A Deadly Education. It's a little dusty. This is the first book in the Scholomance series. I remember when this was first coming out, people were like, oh, it's like Harry Potter, but like actually like dark academia and a little bit more like intense. I don't know if that's like a great description nowadays, but it is supposed to actually like focus and critique school settings as dark academia, the genre, is supposed to do. I don't know much details other than like a student goes to school at some magic school and it's actually like deadly. Yeah, that's pretty much all I know. A lot of people really love this series at the time. Now that the hype has died down a little bit, we'll see how I feel. I love the Goodwill. I found these 2 books. I don't know if they're companion books or they happen like one after the other, but I have Empire Sand and Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri, which I've heard great things about as well. This is the books of Amba series. Again, I don't know if they take place one another. I dared to read the synopsis of both. Sometimes they spoil it, obviously, if it's a sequel. But they mention different characters, so maybe it's like a companion thing that takes place in the same like political world. It sounds like there's political drama. Empire Sand might be the first one. It talks about like marginalized groups that are being treated like crap by an empire, as you see a lot in fantasy nowadays, which is fine. I love that. I have actually heard things about these 2, so hopefully I love them. I love that I found these. My Goodwill is not the best. It's usually like foreign language books, sometimes like Christian books, and like the usual subjects like Rick Riordan and Twilight and stuff, but I found these, which is great. I also found Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. Very nice, like hardcover, good condition. I know that this has King of Scars, I think, takes place before this one. I have read the majority of Leigh Bardugo's like Grishaverse and I have really enjoyed it. Unpopular opinion, hot take, I would rather reread Shadow and Bone series than Six of Crows, even though I know Six of Crows, that duology, is like technically better written, but I find more excitement in the 3-book series. That's just me. But I have not continued on. I don't know if I want to read any of those books at the moment though, but I found this one and I do need King of Scars I think that one takes place first, and then Rule of Wolves. And I know there's a lot of conflicting opinions about this particular like duology. We shall see. We shall see how I feel about this. What else? I find most of my books at the Goodwill. I found this, I think, horror novel, Don't Go to Sleep by Bryce Moore. Never heard about much about this author or this book, but I thought the cover looked very intriguing. It looks like Lizzie Borden-esque. It's totally not about Lizzie Borden. I think it's about a young girl who's existing during the Axeman murders in Louisiana. I believe it's Louisiana, which is an actual serial killer who like killed a bunch of people. But I guess this is like a reimagining of it with a female heroine. It looks like a nice short read. The margins are huge, so I want to read more horror anyway, so we have this. Speaking of horror, I also found the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I know this author has a lot of critiques that are fair and valid. I actually haven't had a problem with his female main characters, but I think in this one we follow a group of either older women or one particular mother who is like very suspicious of a new person in their neighborhood who is believed to be a vampire and is harming like the local community. I did start reading this on audiobook and I didn't love hearing it, but maybe like reading physically would be better. I have read My Best Friend's Exorcism, which I did really like, and then I read Horror Store, which I thought was also fun and witty, but it's not as, it didn't hit me as hard as Best Friend's Exorcism. We'll see how I feel about this one. People really either like it or dislike it. We shall see. These books are so dusty. I also found Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. I've heard that this series is on the back burner. When it will be continued, I don't know, which makes me sad because I have read this one before and I really liked it. I love a paranormal urban fantasy, as you know, but also sorry about my dog snoring. I just noticed he's really loud. This takes place post-apocalyptic setting after like waters have like risen and I guess a lot of people have died, and because we're in a new era of human society, the old gods have come back and we follow I think indigenous characters. They're Danae and they are like supernatural monster hunters now because monsters and like gods and everything have come back, so it's a whole new food chain, I guess. I did really enjoy it and I do want to reread it. It makes me sad that I don't know if we don't know what's gonna happen with the series. I don't know. I think it's called the Sixth World series. I love this big floppy paperback though. I found 2 Agatha Christie books at my Goodwill as well. They had And Then There Were None and Crooked House. I've never read Agatha Christie, don't tell anybody, but I would like to. This had a bookmark. It's called I Don't Judge Books by Their Movies. Love that. Eventually I will read from her. And these are nice, nice pretty like paperbacks, so I picked those up. I don't have to explain Agatha Christie, right? Okay, period. I found Silo, the first book in the Silo series. I have also tried starting to read this on my Kindle, but I was like, no, this is not something that I can read on my Kindle. I believe this takes place in like another like post-apocalyptic world where like the outside is toxic and everyone lives in like a single silo, or at least the people within the story live in a silo, and I think someone got like excommunicated and like kicked out and now there's like a new guy in charge, something along those lines. I could be wrong, I could be super wrong, I don't know, but another post-apocalyptic story. There is already a adaptation on Apple TV Plus. Hopefully I enjoy it. I have another, I guess, post-apocalyptic story that wasn't like intentional, but I have The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. Yeah, this is a dystopian saga. Julie Kagawa, I've read some of her earlier work, the Iron King series, which was a little dated writing wise, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm always interested in her stories. This takes place in a world where like vampires have killed off like a ton of like the human race, and our main character is like a scavenger trying to like survive, and then she gets turned into a vampire or something. I'm not 100% sure. I saw it had deckled edges and I thought the cover was nice and it was like shiny, so I for $2 like I couldn't pass it up. So I have 3 more books that I got at my Goodwill, and then I can talk about like actual bookstore buys. I found this copy of The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I need to read more classics. I have this one big book, let me show you. I have this ginormous 1001 books to read before you die, which I saw going around on social media a bit, and I love the idea of trying to like read as much of this. Obviously this is not the end all be all. I have looked through this list and it's very like westerny. The only like non-western titles happen to be like prior to the 1600s, which this book is like separated by centuries. I'm sure that this book is in here, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised if this is in this book. I don't remember exactly the same titles, but I saw it. I do like these Penguin classic editions. I love the simplicity of it. Yeah, I just wanted to read more classics. I am in that point in my life where it's not enough for me to read like fun fantasy personally. This one, Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. This is the same author that did the Red Queen series, which I did have fun with when I first read the first book way back when. I should finish it. I mean, it's probably dated. There's character art. That is so cute. I don't know anything about the series, but it looks like it's a cast of characters, multiple perspectives, and I'm sure there's some political drama, some romance, as there usually is in YA stories. But I've had, again, like some success with Victoria Aveyard. And the last book I got at the Goodwill was My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I've seen this going around. So many people love this. I've seen it's mostly positive things. I did see one person critique it and say that it wasn't for them, and that's totally fine. But I believe this is the first book in a series that follows a very long-lasting relationship between two women. Like, I guess they're just friends. I don't know. Maybe it gets Leslie later on. I'm not sure. I've heard it's fantastic. And like I said before, I love fantasy. I love sci-fi, all that kind of stuff. But I do want to expand more. I feel like I'm needing more in my reading taste, I guess. Oh, I forgot one more from secondhand was Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. This is the same author that did Legends and Lattes, which I did like. It was a cozy fantasy with like a hint of romance, not romance heavy though. And this is a like prequel that follows the same like assassin orc. I believe she's like currently on bed rest because of some job that she was on, and she takes a resting period and works at a bookshop. I'm not sure. Again, it's a prequel to an already like cozy fantasy that I'm familiar with. A lot of people love Legends and Lattes. I thought it was fine. It was good. I didn't love it as much as everyone did, but again, I don't mind reading the prequel. I know I'll have like a fine time with it. Okay, everything else in this haul was bought at the actual bookstore. I'll start with The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. I've been really interested in the like Hellraiser world. I did really love that remake in 2020 or 2022, and this is the story that inspired like Pinhead and all that kind of stuff. And Clive Barker is a horror legend, so I picked it up. It's a nice cute little edition. I saw this on the Goodreads Choice Awards last year for nonfiction. It's The Bookshop, A History of the American Bookstore by Evan Friss. I'm not sure if it won, but again, want to expand my reading taste. This is a nonfiction about books, so like I don't think it could really go wrong, so long as like the story or the delivery of information is fine and won't leave me dying for excitement. This should be fine. Yeah, I haven't really read so much nonfiction as of late, which is not good. We have Glint by Raven Kennedy. This is a very dramatic, intense romantasy. I don't know if it's dark romantasy, but there is sexual content, some triggers here. I actually really like this one. This is one of those book talk romantasies that gets hype, and a lot of times they're not as good as, you know, the hype usually is. I actually really enjoyed this one. I thought it was very thrilling. I thought it was very captivating. I thought it was an interesting concept. This is a reimagining of the, what's his name, King Midas myth. We follow a character who is like King Midas's like, not queen, she's not, you know, she doesn't have any proper titles. She's just like his like thing that he like props up. She is a woman like completely coated in gold because he's King Midas. And I will tip my hat off because again, I've read this book and I think the next book. I do think this author did a good job at like exploring a very bad relationship and how it's not an easy thing to break. I really liked it. The first book in particular, you're gonna want to like grab this woman by her shoulders and be like, look, you need to leave this guy, he's like terrible for you. But she keeps wanting to go back, understandably, because that's how these dependent abusive relationships can be. I do think the author did a good job at like trying to portray that. It's still romantasy at the end with like elves and shit. So yeah, I picked up The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This I think was in the mystery thriller category, but it also, I've read like literary fiction as well, but I heard it was good, and so I picked it up. It looked interesting. I believe we follow the mystery surrounding this young girl who died at this like summer camp, that her family tends also like owns the property, so they're really wealthy, but other people within this family have also died on this property. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if it's gonna go like fantasy or horror route or anything, just know that someone's dead and they're investigating that unfortunate situation. And then the last book that I picked up, honestly just because of the cover, it looked cool, was Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. I've heard it says that there is romance in this book and it's romantasy. I thought it'd be more politically heavy. I don't know, I haven't read it, but apparently we follow a group of people and it's supposed to be like a revenge story. I don't know the details, obviously I haven't read it, but I thought the cover looked cool. It looked like an interesting start to a series. This is the first book in the Age of Blood series. It's from Orbit. Orbit typically has really interesting stuff, and usually their work is properly edited. Sometimes editing is not the focus of publishing houses nowadays, but I have faith that I'll at least enjoy my read of this, or at least have something interesting to say. So yeah, I think that's the last book in this haul. Let me know if you've read any of these books. I know some of these are like really popular or classics. I like to hear anything you have to say in the comments down below. I will also link my social medias down below, as well as some far more important links. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, or subscribe, or do neither. It's all cool with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.